More than 30 years together, the days that were once filled with love now carry a sense of distance. What makes a woman who was once infatuated with her husband suddenly become indifferent? What turns the gazes that were once full of admiration into cold stares over time? This rift did not happen in an instant. It came slowly, creeping into unfinished stories, forgotten moments, and unheeded small desires. It is not that love suddenly disappears, but rather that a new awareness gradually forms. Love is not just about existence, but also about how one feels it. So what has changed? What are the signs that no one wants to face? And most importantly, is there a way for the flame of love to not extinguish over the years? If you are a husband, a wife, or simply someone curious about the secrets of a lasting marriage, join me on this journey to the end. What you are about to hear may completely change the way you perceive love, marriage, and commitment in the years to come. Commitment to solutions. Changes in marriage never occur suddenly. They do not stem from a big argument, nor from a shocking event. They come from small things that are overlooked, conversations that become shorter, moments that should be cherished but are forgotten. No one really talks about this. People often discuss love when it begins or when it ends, but very few talk about the prolonged silence in between. Where feelings gradually fade, intimacy becomes a habit, and care turns into obligation. But this is not a story about falling out of love. On the contrary, it is a story about realizing that love is not just a static state, but a continuous journey that needs to be nurtured. Many women, when entering a new phase of life, begin to ask themselves, "Is this the life I desired? Am I truly happy?" And if the answers are no longer as clear as before, they start to step back, not because they have stopped loving, but because they desire more than what they are receiving. So what is really happening? Why do many women begin to feel lonely even within their own marriages as they grow older? And most importantly, is it possible to change before it's too late? Today, we will delve into the reasons why a wife may distance herself from her husband, not to assign blame, but to gain a better understanding of what is happening and to find a way forward for both. If you have ever felt the gap in your marriage widening, or if you want to prevent it from happening before it does, stay tuned until the end. Because love does not naturally endure. It requires understanding, care, and above all, a choice every day. 1. Emotional burdens become an overwhelming responsibility. For many years, the wife often plays the role of the glue that holds the family together. She remembers each anniversary, organizes family meals, plans trips, and worries about every member of the household. She is the one who pays attention to her husband's health, cares about her children's moods, and maintains the connection among family members. But as time passes, she begins to realize a heartbreaking truth. All those responsibilities seem to belong solely to her. She is not just a wife. She is also a coordinator, caregiver, and sometimes the only one holding the relationship together. Meanwhile, many husbands remain unaware of this. They blissfully enjoy that care without ever asking the questions. Is my wife tired? Does she need someone to care for her in return? This injustice over time not only exhausts the wife, but also makes her feel that she is no longer a partner, but merely someone bearing all burdens to sustain the marriage. 2. Conversations that lose deep connection. In the beginning, every conversation is a discovery. Two people can talk for hours about everything, from dreams to the small details of the day. But over time, the questions become shorter, conversations gradually turn into repetitive habits, and sometimes they consist of only exchanges about household chores. The curiosity about each other fades, replaced by prolonged silence. And the most heartbreaking thing is not the arguments, but when there is nothing left to say to each other. A woman does not only want someone by her side, she wants to be understood, to be listened to, and to feel that her thoughts have value. When that is no longer the case, the gap between two people widens, and loneliness can creep in even when they still share the same roof. 3. The burden of household chores becomes an endless weight. Since they were young, women have been accustomed to shouldering most of the household work. However, what gradually makes them feel distant is not just the amount of work, but the sense that it never ends and goes unrecognized by anyone. The dishes are still there waiting to be washed, clothes are piled up waiting to be folded, the floor still needs to be cleaned, but who is always doing these things? Unfortunately, in many families, this responsibility still falls solely on the wife, even when she has reached a stage where she should be resting. When a woman realizes that, despite the passing years, she is still doing the same tasks as on the first day without any sharing, it not only makes her tired but also makes her feel disrespected. And when that fatigue lasts, the bond in marriage gradually fades. 4. She changes, but her husband remains stagnant. Age not only brings physical changes but also new desires. When a woman enters a more mature stage, she begins to want to experience more, to learn, to explore. However, if her husband clings to old mindsets and is unwilling to expand his world, challenge himself, or seek new experiences, she will feel as though she is living in a marriage that no longer fits. The saddest thing is not when two people have differences, but when one wants to move forward while the other is content to stand still. At that point, the gap is not just emotional but also a difference in life perspectives, making the wife feel as though she is living a stifled life rather than one that allows for growth. 5. The disconnection in intimacy and emotional connection. Intimacy is not just about sexual relations, but also about spiritual closeness. A surprise hug, a loving gaze, a gentle word can make a woman feel loved. But when these things gradually fade away, she begins to question whether she still matters in her husband's eyes. Physical distance often results from a larger disconnection. It's when she no longer feels the bond. When a woman no longer feels desired, no longer feels that her presence still holds significance for her husband, she not only loses interest but also loses the sense of connection, causing the feelings to gradually fade away. 6. Retirement does not always bring peace. Many people think that when they reach retirement age, couples will have more time together to enjoy leisurely days. But the reality is not always so. When a husband retires, many men do not know what to do with their free time. They have spent their whole lives working, and now they suddenly have no plans. As a result, they start relying on their wives as their main source of entertainment, wanting her to always be by their side, always helping them fill the gaps in the day. This can quickly become a burden, as the wife also needs her own time, needs space to pursue the things she loves. Without a balance, the marriage can shift from something to look forward to into a constraint that makes the wife feel more suffocated than ever. 7. The feeling of no longer being heard and appreciated. One of the most painful things in marriage is not the big arguments, but when someone feels that their voice no longer matters. Many wives have dedicated their lives to listening, understanding, and supporting their husbands, but when they need to be heard, their words are overlooked. When a woman realizes that no matter what she says or how she shares her feelings, her husband doesn't actually care, that is the moment she starts to give up. She no longer tries to speak, no longer desires to be heard. And when a woman stops trying, that is when love begins to fade. 8. Realizing life is short and she wants more. As age accumulates, people begin to reflect on their lives more clearly. They witness friends and loved ones leaving. They feel that time is no longer as long as before. And in that moment, many women ask themselves, am I truly happy? Am I living a life that I want? If the answer is no, she will no longer want to spend time waiting. She wants to change, wants to make the most of the remaining time to live a fuller life. If her husband does not walk this journey with her, she will gradually choose her own path. Closing remarks and call to action. Love in marriage does not disappear in an instant. It does not leave suddenly like a storm. It fades in small moments that no one notices. In the days when a wife feels alone even in her own home. In the time she wants to share but no one truly listens. In the evenings when she sits next to her partner, but the distance between them feels greater than ever. But that does not mean everything is over. Love is not just an emotion. It is a choice. Just as it can quietly fade away, it can also be reignited if both make the effort. If you are a husband, ask yourself a simple question. When was the last time you truly listened to your wife? Not just nodding along, not just giving a cursory response, but really listening with genuine care. When was the last time you made her feel important? When was the last time you proactively showed that she is still special in your life? And if you are a wife who feels distant, ask yourself, is there still a chance for the two of you to reconnect? Is it possible to have an honest conversation before it becomes too late? Love is not a destination. It is a journey. It does not only rely on memories of the past, but also on what the two of you choose to do in the present. No marriage is perfect, but every marriage can improve if both want to build together. If there is one thing you can take away after watching this video, it is the truth that love does not fade over time. It only fades when we stop caring for it. And if you want to keep your love alive, start today. Choose to love, choose to listen, choose to appreciate your partner once again. Because in the end, in the years to come, the most precious thing will still be the person who walks alongside you to the end of the road. Thank you for watching the video. Take a moment to reflect on what you have just heard, and if you find this meaningful, share it with your loved ones. Marriage is not a fairy tale, but it can become a beautiful journey if both choose to hold hands, no matter how much time changes. See you in the next video.